What's up, everybody? It's Alex here. So welcome back to another video. And in this video, I wanted to talk about kind of like surrendering to God and His plan for you and comparing yourself to other people. Because a lot of times people compare themselves to other people, and the problem with that is that you can't really compare your journey with God to anybody else because you're unique, and everybody's unique and has their unique journey. And when you're going on your unique journey and you're working with God, you need to be able to cultivate this sense of like understanding that you're a unique person made by God and He made you the way you are, everything about you, physical appearance and mental side. And you have past lives that are unique to you, not to anybody else. There's nobody else that can explain your past and how you are the way you are. It is just defined by God and your past, and any mistakes and choices and other things in your past and past lives. And when you're coming into this incarnation, when you're working with God, it's important to understand that you don't compare yourself to anybody else because you have your own journey and you don't need to compete with anybody else, but just focus on you and what your purpose is, and not be negative and toxic about it. I think a lot of times comparison is like a thief of joy, and it's usually a waste of time because it doesn't really matter because God has a plan for you and God's orchestration arrangements don't change. There's of course delays and so on with God's plan, and it's preparation for the breakthroughs and what you're meant to be, to make you what you are supposed to be. And it's so important for you to understand this is I've never been much of a comparison person myself. Like there's times when I've done it, but like I'm not the biggest like caring about competition in that sense or competing with other people. I've always kind of been like focusing on myself to develop myself as much as possible. And comparing is a bad habit if you do it a lot because it's going to distract you first of all from your purpose, and you're going to distract yourself with your own thoughts and the limiting beliefs and think that somebody, you're always very negative and toxic about somebody else, whoever it happens to be. And that's the problem with comparison is it's a very negative, satanic, toxic mindset, and it's not going to help you. It's just going to hinder you in every way on your journey with God and your growth with God. And it's important also not to compare yourself in your faith to other people and where you're at growing with your faith, because everybody starts somewhere and everybody starts on day zero, and nobody's perfect on day zero or something in their faith. And same thing if you're pursuing like things like that are more competitive, I don't know, whatever it is for you, I guess. It could be making videos, music, art of some kind, maybe it's a competitive field or whatever. You need to kind of stick to yourself and go with God's plan and purpose for you, whatever it is that you're going to be doing. Maybe you're doing these kind of videos like me and you feel like you're competing or something, but I think it's so important to achieve this inner peace and work with God and talk to God about it and pray to God on help and guidance on it if you feel like this kind of negativity within yourself about this like competition mindset and comparing yourself. A lot of people compare themselves. We have different niches like fitness and everything else in the social media space, and a lot of people just cultivate a ton of negativity on these spaces all the time. It doesn't really matter what social space it is. There's always somebody like throwing a negative comment about somebody's physique or somebody, the way they talk or make videos on social media, that it's completely wrong. There's nothing wrong with critique and giving honest feedback, but there's a difference between honest feedback and critique. And just hating for the sake of like comparison and so on and so forth from their own insecurity. You need to realize when people are projecting their negativity onto you as well, especially if you're like a more lighter being and you've sensed this like light within yourself and you're come to know your own light. You need to be really careful with who you surround yourself with and who you let into your comment sections and so on. In a sense, like sometimes you just need to get rid of people, whether it's in real life or online, honestly, because some people are just very toxic and they do that comparison mindset, and it's not very useful to anything. It doesn't really amount to anything for your life, and it's the shit, and it doesn't improve you. So it's very important, like consider like when you're absorbing negative energies from people, or when you're observing negative energies and insecurities and projections from people, and you really need to be careful with your auric field in that regard, and how you're letting energies into yourself. Because if you absorb everything from people, the negative energies, whether it's online or in person, you're gonna have a lot of trouble. It doesn't matter if it's comparison online or in person. In a sense, people do both, and that's why it's so important to not be around the wrong people but the right people if you have people in your life, because that comparison and negativity usually stems because you're around the wrong people. And if it's just online because you're building a business or something online, for example, like this on social media, then you need to not worry about the competition and anxieties and so on, and focus on yourself and your journey. That's what's most important, especially when you're with God, you know. Like, God has all blessed us with, you know, these ordinations for us, and, you know, made us the way we are, and, you know, with a certain purpose, and God will fulfill that purpose as long as you follow him. You don't need to worry about like all the outside circumstances and realities, because you create your reality from your head to the outer reality. You know, inner work is the most important. And once you have that inner work, you can achieve anything. There's no limitation, because once you are doing the inner work, you remove those limitations from your mind. Your mind becomes free and peaceful and joyful, and you can just have fun and do what it is you're meant to do. And you have to worry about like competition and so on, and these negative feelings. And I think that's pretty good. Now, to end this video on, I don't have too much to say otherwise. I think that's pretty much the solution, I would say, to competition and feeling comparison with people and how negative it is. And, you know, seek God on this as well. As always, you can seek God for anything in your life. It's very important to build that relationship with God so you can get rid of these negativities. But if there's a will, there's a way. Thank you for watching. God bless. Don't forget to donate in the description, and one-on-ones in the description as well. Thank you for watching.